Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We're going to get going very shortly. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's ACY Securities webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's Forex trading live market analysis. Before we get into it, if you can read through the risk disclaimer, any questions, just put them into the chat or the question and answer box. If you're on our YouTube stream, I can't see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch or just register for the webinar and come into the room so that you can ask questions. All right, let's move along. If you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper. I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. And I'm a full-time trader, been trading for more than 15 years, mentoring clients for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, then simply send me an email to duncan.cooper@acy.com. And if you want to follow me through the week, you can get my analysis at the Market News tab at our website, acy.com. On our YouTube channel, ACY Securities Australia, and you can also connect with me on Twitter and LinkedIn. As well, through the week, you can connect with me in our Telegram channel, where I'm providing analysis based around the webinar education content that I deliver. And you can also get access to my chart layouts and indicators. Just contact Nathan Bray to get access to any of that. And any account opening questions, anything like that, just contact Nathan. I'll put his details in the chat a little bit later. As well, for some of you, it all depends who you are. If you're an account holder, then you may well be able to get into our Inner Circle webinar, which is on Monday evening, 8 p.m. with myself and Nathan. If you'd like to find out more about that and how to get access, then simply contact Nathan. I'll put his details in the chat. I'll put them in the chat right now. So if you want to get access to my chart layouts, indicators, access to the Telegram, if you'd like to see if you can get access to the Inner Circle webinar on Monday, then simply contact Nathan. His details are in the chat right now. Here we go. All right, so he's organizing all that. I just turn up and make myself look good. That's my job. Nathan does all the organizing and facilitating of the Inner Circle webinar. All right, so that's what is coming up on Monday. Contact Nathan for more details. All right, so first of all, let's just get into what is coming up on the news front over the next couple of days. So it's a bit light this week, but tomorrow, tentatively at some point, usually these times are my time, Queensland time, something around about 11:30 or 12 o'clock is usually the China news window. 4 p.m. in the afternoon for the UK or pound, we've got CPI data, Canadian news at 10:30. All right, and then into Thursday morning, 10:30 a.m., we've got the Aussie unemployment rate, 10:30 p.m. Thursday, US fully fed. It's quite a light week, so I don't really trade the Canadian, so that's not going to bother me too much. But if any of those currencies are in the currency pairs that you're trading, then just make sure you know what's coming out. So nothing too much to worry about. So maybe around about lunchtime tomorrow when there's some Chinese data coming out. All right, just looking at my other screen. Looks like there might be a bit of intervention going on somewhere on dollar yen. Let's just go to the dollar yen. All right, looks like we're getting a bit of intervention from the Bank of Japan, as you can see. So how long that will last in terms of what price action is doing. Like my charts at the moment don't seem to be updating, so I might close one of my platforms down. Not sure that's updating. Let's just have a look. Don't know if you've all got the same problem as me. All right, I'm able to at least change charts. That dollar yen at the moment doesn't look like it's particularly updating too much. Our prices are flashing around here. All right, so it looks like we were, just before I was coming on, it was trading up around about 149.30. I was thinking to myself, we're getting, very high up here towards the 150. There were some headlines on Forex Factory saying that, I think it was a Japanese press conference today saying that they will come to the market and intervene if they feel like the price is too high. So that looks like an intervention. Whether or not, last major intervention moved down to like 500 pips. At the moment, it's seemingly only moving down about 100. So we'll see what transpires. Warren, you're asking me, I may have forgotten to share my screen. My screen should be shared. And who else is on there that I can ask? Slav, can you see my screen okay? No, so nobody can see my screen. Let me see what's going on. All right, how about now? Can we see my charts now? Good. All right. Should have been working out fine, but you know what technology is like. So could we see the PowerPoint at the beginning? All right, let's carry on. Hopefully you can see my dollar yen 15-minute chart showing this 100 pip candle coming down. All right. So it's like you're saying, you see the dollar yen, so I'll just continue on. All right, so we're having some interventions. Obviously difficult to trade something that's having intervention, but whether or not this is going to do what it did last time, when we had about a 500 pip run down, time will tell. Just have a quick look at the other yen pairs. Aussie yen's moved down a little bit. Euro yen dropped about 50 pips. Pound yen has had a spike down. So bit of volatility on those pairs at the moment. I mean, you can work out whether or not you want to trade them or not. Are you at a level that you'd like to sell at and hold something with the Bank of Japan intervening? It's of course a little bit risky, but you can work out whether you'd like to do that or not. Let's just get into the dollar index and talk about what's going on this in the first instance. So the monthly charts, at the moment, we're still in an uptrend. We're fractionally negative for the month. Squash it in. Nothing at the moment is really telling me that trend's finishing. It's too early. It's too hard to tell on a monthly chart in general terms. All I'm getting from the monthly chart is that we're in an uptrend. We may be overextended, but we've moved above the last level of resistance before the top up here. That level of resistance we're above at 111.31 is the resistance level. Okay, so just keep your eye on the overall structure. It's in an uptrend on the monthly. The weekly, what we're seeing is a higher bottom, kind of lower top maybe forming. So I'm seeing a little bit of mix at the moment. We've got light news coming out this week. So maybe the market's just kind of consolidating, waiting for the next big US news events. All right, so a little bit consolidatory, momentum mixed. On the daily, we've got a higher bottom, lower top. As I say, it's a little bit mixed, but it is holding. Even today's pullback even though we've had a day down today, we're not getting back below where was monthly resistance. So this holds above 111.31. This could just be consolidating. There's no major news item to drive it. Doesn't mean to say we're changing trend, it's just consolidating, just waiting for the next big thing to drive price action. Okay, so not too much news coming out this week. And what we're seeing on the S&P 500, indices are rallying at the moment, still in a downtrend here, but we're moving back above monthly broken support. Still lower top, lower bottom. All right, maybe coming up to like a 79% retracement of that day chart range. All right, and this is weekly broken support, could be resistance. So this could just be coming up to put in a lower top to keep the trend down. So what we're seeing is slight rally on the dollar index, beg your pardon, slight rally on the S&P 500, but that's not changing the overall structural trend. Dollar index a little bit consolidatory. Okay, so I might just start with, at the moment, just want to see where the euro dollar is. Let's talk about the euro dollar. I posted this in the Telegram today. So on the day chart, this is very much like the upside down mirror image of the dollar index. We've got a lower top, higher bottom on daily here. Higher time frames, you know, the monthly trend is quite clearly down. Your weekly trend is showing a similar structure of the dollar index. It's got a lower top, minor lower top to a minor lower bottom at the moment. And today we've come up to test this broken level of daily support. Should be now resistance. So what we have seen over the last kind of 2 or 3 weeks is we moved back up. We failed at weekly resistance here. We traded down. Now we're coming up to trade at daily resistance here. Is this going to hold for a movement back down? Now, what I'm seeing is, whilst the trend is a little bit mixed from the current range here, we're at the 62% level as well. So move that down to a 4-hour chart. We've traded into the 62 level, the daily resistance level, and you can see a 4-hour negative candle. So if you don't mind 4-hour candle entry, it's just the break of the last 4-hour candle. If you're at a significant level that you think price is going to reverse that. So if we break the low of the red candle, that's going to start to confirm a top here at that level, and then we could well see a movement back down. Last week, we were getting a lot of support at 97. So 97 would be a definite area to look at, you know, a profit area, or at least be aware of that. Support was definitely coming in at 97 or below. So if you start to see things faltering at 97 or below, good area to take profit. But, you know, are we going to see a continuation pattern? We've moved down from the failure at 99.52, rallying back up to the 62 level. Now daily resistance. Are we going to see a movement? Now, if we move down to 127 extension, continuation pattern, that comes down to daily support that we formed, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. All right, so is that what's happening? All right, so it's rather consolidatory really today. Has folded up here. You know, if you didn't take an opportunity to trade maybe at the level, then you could wait for the 4-hour entry. You could wait to see if this comes back up to that level once more. All right, make your own determination as to you think that's a good level to trade down from. Are we getting a continuation pattern down from there? Let's have a look at the pound dollar day chart. This fib's drawn across last month's range. Higher time frame trends, monthly, weekly, are down. Weekly might be, let me just get rid of that fib, maybe a little bit like the euro dollar. We do have a lower top, minor higher bottom, holding at this resistance area. So that's a monthly low that we broke below at 114.09. That's pretty much where we traded up to today. We traded fractionally above it yesterday, traded to it today. So is resistance coming in there on the kind of second weekly test of that level to move down? MACD's not crossing up. So are we holding here to move down? All right, we have traded below 113 today. We've been above 114. We have recently traded below 113. For our chart, I did notice, 79% retracement of this range. We've been in that area over the last, I guess, maybe 5 trading days, something like that. Today we're in there again, trading at 79% level, stop above the high. You could have been looking to trade at 114.09, monthly resistance to trade down. Now we are below 113.50 daily resistance. So now that we've maybe stalled at 114.09, if you're looking for an opportunity to trade, and we've already had a 4-hour candle entry, breaking the last candle with the current candle, or one candle back, the red one moving down, breaking below the blue one, was an entry, stop above the high. Price might come back to retest 113.50. I've already been moving down here and tested it through London already, and it held. So it could go back up for another retest of 113.50. The 100 pip entry I've taught, trading at 113.50, 100 pip stop above. Earlier in the day, maybe you could have been looking to trade at 114, 114.09, 100 pip stop above. That would have been, you'd be at break even by now, hopefully. Waiting to see if this is going to be moving back down. So what it looks like is last week, this was yesterday, but let's go back to the 4-hour. Was it last week or the week before? 2 weeks ago, we came up to test monthly resistance, 114.09. This week, we're doing the second retest. Are we failing at that minus 79% level now? There's also the biggest 79% level from the range of last month. This is the range of last month. That's at 114.30. We touched that yesterday. So are we failing at the resistance level or the 79% level for a continuation down over time to re-challenge what was the all-time low, 104.63, right? I mean, if that's where we're going, this is the most opportune time to take that position, get it at the highest price you can for that move, all right? Of course, there's no guarantee when you take a trade, you're going to be right. So you must have a stop, manage your risk at all times when you're taking a trade, but it's at a nice level of resistance. So you just need to decide. Slab MACD is about to cross down the 4-hour too. Yep. So it's maybe just getting in that frame of, we've rallied back up, headlong rally back into resistance, sold off. This time the rally is a lot less, aggressive. It didn't move through 114.09 too much, not as much as last time, and today it pretty much traded at that level. So maybe that's where the sellers are putting the brake on, getting their positions for the next move down. So make your decision. Pound yen, I did a video on this today. I don't think this is quite ready, but you can make your own decision. Day chart, if I go to the monthly chart first of all, we came down and broke monthly support. We've rallied all the way back up to break above monthly resistance, or at least, test it, trade above it. Are we failing? Are we going to stay in this, what I could call a long-term large range? All right. Weekly, 1, 2, 3, there's 4 weekly highs here. We're not able to, at the moment, stay above the monthly top. The weekly top to the left there is at 168.42. Now, this isn't an uptrend of sorts. That's definitely on the weekly, definitely on the daily. There's a big wide low monthly range there. So, do you want to buy it at the top of that range? I don't, but if we break clear above, So my video today, if we break clear above, and then we pull back, and that becomes support, okay, I can start to look to be a buyer. One close above, to me, doesn't mean to say that we're continuing up for the next 5 days, because at the moment, we're not trading above that top. So clearly, sellers are watching that level. We close below a monthly resistance here, 168.72 and 168.42 weekly resistance to the left. If we close below those levels, then there's a high chance we're just going to move back down the range. All right, so then look for whatever your setup is to trade down. All right. Obviously, we've got lots of volatility on the pound crosses. We've got volatility on the yen crosses from the intervention that we've just been having. Now, of course, do you want to buy the pound yen? I'm not saying sell it either, but I mean, if I'm just logically thinking, is the bodge coming in to intervene, and we're at a significant high point on the pound yen, do we really want to be buying when there's that risk in the back of the mind to say, is the bodge coming in to intervene? So is that a good level for a failure for sure? Do we see, on the 4-hour chart over the next few days, structure forming? We're already seeing a lower top. In actual fact, if you wanted to be aggressive, you could have traded it on the 4-hour chart today. That lower top forming, which would have been a break of the blue candle, would have got you in. Stop above the lower top or stop above the final high, that would take you into a position. We've got actually, if we cross down the MACD, we're going to have negative divergence forming, because this is actually lower to that part of the MACD, and that represents that top to that top. So we've got a higher top, but maybe not on the MACD. So maybe we're getting a shift here. But you can wait for, we've got a lower top. You can wait for price to come down, put in a bottom. Can it rally back up, put in another lower top? In a perfect world, can it decline now on the 4-hour chart? And can it come up to only trade back to this resistance area and put in a resistance lower top in that area? Okay, that would be ideal. Depends how aggressive you want to be. If you're looking to trade this pair. 50-minute chart, you can see the rejection 50 minutes ago, and we're still wanting to sell off. So maybe the market is favoring the sell side because of the intervention. Just pausing because something's in the chat. And Edwin, you say on a 30-minute chart, you've got a trend line on GJ waiting for the break and retest for support at 168.42. So I don't know where you had your trend line. Did you have it kind of like that? Or like that? Something like that. In any event, wherever you draw your trend line, it's broken. So right now it's coming back up to retest weekly resistance. So yeah, you're saying something like that. So, we're definitely not able to hold today as we're getting to the London session above that top. If you're with me in the market liquidity webinar last week, if you kind of got that concept about market liquidity, where's liquidity at the moment? Where's the buy side liquidity at the moment? All right, all in that area there. This is where if retail traders are short and prices moving above those highs, they're having to buy to get out. And some of them will be getting excited thinking this is going like 1,000 pips north now. So they're buying as prices getting above those highs. All right, so all that buying is potentially where the institutions are taking their positions, collecting all those buys. to go short. Okay, so that is a clear area where, you know, this high, that's April. So we're kind of 6 months, but 6 months highs. Okay, can we break above and stay above 6 months highs? All right, if I was a betting man, I'd probably say we can't, but we'll just have to wait and see. You just need to look for whatever your setup is. We're at clear resistance here. Are we failing? If you start to see it fail, then look for your setup to trade. Okay. All right, I'm just going to head left and start with the Aussie yen now. Now, some of these pairs, like, you know, pound yen and euro yen are at the tops of their market, whereas the Aussie yen isn't. And we have been contending with all these levels of support, weekly support, could quite get down to monthly support, day support here. But structurally, I know the MACD is crossing up, it's just following price action. Structurally, though, this is still holding to a downtrend. Are we just rallying within this range that we formed? Okay. Hopefully you can see we're at the 79% level. Are we faltering at the 79% level here for another move down? So, you know, a continuation pattern here on the day chart. All right. So lots of 4-hour tops to the left here. So what I'm seeing here is that from all the 4-hour tops to the left here, I could start from that top, move to that final top. All right. There's a strong resistance area there, which obviously we traded to today. All right. And we can't hold at the 79% level. All right. Are we now moving down from that level? So if you think we are, trying to construct a trade as close as you can to the 79 level, maybe putting your stop above the high up here, gets you the best risk to reward for the movement down, if that's what we're going to have. Of course, price might want to change trend, but you just have to decide yourself. Do you like the positioning of that at the moment, the way it looks? All right. Tomorrow I'm going to be going through order blocks, and just for those that might know a little bit about order blocks, there's actually an order block there on the 4-hour chart. All right, we can revisit this tomorrow, but I'm going to go through order blocks tomorrow, how you draw them and what they are. So there's an order block. So you see how we moved just into it and then we've sold off today. Plus as well, it's all lined up with resistance to the left, but it just got into it. Okay, and then it's traded out of it. All right. So that's tomorrow night's topic, but I just, you know, I don't really draw order blocks on my charts when I'm doing my own trading, but I can see where an order block would be if I wanted to draw it in, and that's where one would be. All right, so you need to make a decision there. Do you think we're still holding the day downtrend, and are we topping out to move back down? All right. Not easy with these big rejection candles. Now, if you do think we're topping out, you know, there's every chance that we could come up for another test of 94 over the next 24 hours. We could come up to retest 79% level again. So look to see how you'd like to structure a trade. All right, but we're definitely failing at 94 and the 79% fib at the moment. So if we are moving down to maybe come down and test monthly support down here at 90.50, you know, from where we're at, almost 30 pips away from 94 at the moment, there's at least 300 pips down to trade down the monthly support if that's where the market's going. So, you know, I keep saying it, but, you know, the risk on this, if you're trading at the 79% level, putting your stop above the high, there's probably a 90 pip risk. Let's call it 100 pips. There's 300 pips down to monthly support. All right. So that's risk reward of 1 to 3. So I don't know whether the trade is going to work. All I know is if it does work, it gives you a good risk reward, and that's what you want when you're setting a trade up. Okay, now you might be able to set up a tighter entry and get an even better risk reward. All right, but it's all about risk reward. Nobody knows if a level is going to work because nobody's got a crystal ball. But what you can do is look for the great areas where you can construct risk reward, good risk reward, and then you're just trading like a casino. You make sure you structure great risk reward, you roll the dice, and some trades are going to work well and in your favor and meet your risk to reward. And if you're wrong, of course, you're going to lose the risk side of the trade, the one. But if you can meet a risk reward of 3 or greater when you're right, you don't really have to be right really 50% or just 50% to, be able to, over a series of trades, make money. All right, Aussie dollar. Still structurally holding to this downtrend. It's a bit choppy down here. Levels that we've got at the moment, we're testing monthly support from over here and weekly support. We did actually close below that on Friday, but we can't hold it in the week at the moment. Monthly trend's clearly down. The weekly trend's clearly down. We have had like a half a week or barely a day or two up here in that week to further move down and down into another lower week last week. So we're just trading up inside last week's range. All right, so if I drop over to my other charts where I've got my ranges, candle ranges, I have to reopen. Then we're trading up inside whilst that's trying to open up. We're trading inside last week's candle. So what was I saying? The Aussie dollar. Here we are. This is my 4-hour chart. To the daily. This fib is drawn over last week's range. We often just trade up to the 62 to 79% level of the previous week's range before then just trading down. So today we've gotten within a pip or two of the 79% level. So it's not looking too dissimilar. We're at 79% level on the Aussie yen. We're at 79% level of last week's range on the Aussie dollar. We could still come up to the 79% level here to move down for the rest of the week. All right. At the moment, it's getting a little bit of support, a weekly support, and monthly support. But if you can try, trend is still down. So if you can look to be a seller higher up for maybe the next move down to move through those levels. All right. A little bit higher up, so you can work out whether you like the 79% level. A little bit higher up at 63. We've got last month's low that can act as strong resistance, which is a day chart, broken support level there. And 63 up to 63.80, that's last week's high as well. That could offer us resistance. All right. But maybe we are faltering at the 79% level. You just have to work out what level you like. Do you see anything on a lower time frame? I don't like the idea of trading into 62.84, which is weekly support at the moment. So it would always be, a better opportunity to try to trade down from higher up, so that by the time you get to a retest of weekly support, you've got your trade at break even. All right. So whether or not you can construct that, of course, we've been up here before today, and maybe you could have looked to sell up here, but we're not up there at the moment. We're very close to weekly support. So yesterday was finding some support. Today we found some support here twice. Are we going to be moving below there? Maybe tomorrow, if we're further down tomorrow, let's say we're down here, you can look to 62.84 to become resistance, trade down. It's just not in the perfect spot right now where it is. I don't want to sell it into support. I'd be happy looking to sell it up here at the 79% level, but not selling into support. So just got to know where to fight your battles. So can it, come back up to give you that higher level, or you'll have to look to try and construct something else if we continue to start to move down. All right. Euro yen. Now, I actually thought we were holding at this area of resistance here. However, clearly we're not. So I actually traded there and had a loss. So I say all the time I have losses. And so I had one there well, not last week, but into this week. And it was a little bit naughty because we had this lovely weekly rejection here from that level, looking like we were maybe putting in a lower top to move down. And then it obviously was a bit of a fake showing. And we've obviously broken above resistance areas here. So that's what trading is like. That's why you've got stops. So, I mean, if you go back to the day chart, if you traded the first failure, well, there was actually two failures. There was a failure here. So that worked. That failure worked. So I was just trading the same thing, but then that time it doesn't work. All right. So, you know, if you're setting your trades up here with a risk reward of 1 to 3, you could have made it down there. You maybe could have made it down here, but here you don't make any reward. You just, you know, have a loss. All right. So this is like way overextended at the moment. So it's not in the best position to just jump in and buy. It's great if you're already long. You can obviously be looking to ask yourself, where am I going to take profits at? And like the pound yen, where we potentially might be false breaking resistance, we are above resistance, but it's a significant resistance from 2013 here. There's a further level up here. The market will know that this is a long-term level of resistance. So doesn't mean to say we're going to spend too much time above it before we start to move back below it. You can see last month we actually couldn't quite trade to that level, and then we sold off for a good part of the month. So whilst we're above that level at the moment, we could simply move back below the level. All right, if we keep moving up, next level is at 149.77. So yeah, the weekly trend is now up. What was looking maybe like putting in a lower top hasn't. All right, 127 extension of that move is up at 148.93. But we're at the very high levels of the euro yen of recent times. So whether or not we can get up to 148.93, this isn't for me. Once we break above a zero level, heading towards a 127 extension level for me, that's for me, you know, from the market liquidity webinar last week, this to me is where the last of the buyers are. And this is where the large traders are looking to sell. All right. Whether they're looking to sell to close out their bought positions for one, or two, selling because they want to reverse their position, or, you know, they're not in a position and they want to structure a new position in a different direction. Now, look, people buying here are the last of the buyers between 0 and the 127 extension. So for me, it's not where I'm going to be looking to buy. Just sitting on my hands. If I can see, you know, today we haven't been able to trade. You see the low of the day, it's pretty much at or close to that monthly level of resistance we moved below. But over the next 2 or 3 days, look what happened last month here, where we tried to get above this level for a couple of days, and then we sunk all the way back down. All right. Just watch what price does now at this resistance level. If we start to close below that level, we could well have a similar movement back down. Doesn't change the overall long-term trend, but the day trend may change. It might offer a 200, 300, 400 pip movement back down the range. This last movement down here was 800 pips. All right. So at the moment, it is structurally in an uptrend. That bodge sell-off, all it's done is really seen price come down to where maybe there were some buy orders, and it's obviously rejecting. So for me at the moment, and that's last month's high as well, this is in the latter end of the move, so I'm not going to look to buy, but I will watch for can we move back below 145.68? If we can't, I'm just not doing anything on that pair at the moment, okay? I know this could go up for the next week, but you're in the latter area of where people are starting to take profit and getting out of the trades. All right. So just look to see if this structure changes. Now you might be going, well, I think it's still got another 500 pips to go. At the moment, it's not spending too much time below the central pivot point on the day. It's all structured intraday at the central pivot point or above. So if you keep seeing that and you want to trade it, well, look to trade at the central pivot point to trade up. If we start to see intraday days where price is now holding below the central pivot point and wanting to move down, that's your telltale sign that upward move is probably starting to shift to the downside. Okay. So we'll cover the euro dollar. It's just coming back up intraday a little. That's on my just pure price action charts. Let's go back to my other charts. If you're not in this pair and you want to get in this pair, my 15-minute trade entry, if this is the failure points, draw the fib from high to low. So the 15-minute fib trade entry, you're looking to sell at 62 level, 79% level is the level I look to trade if I'm trading that way. Where we fail at a level we've already sold off, can it sell back up? Can it climb back up to the 79 level, which pretty much overlaps with the resistance level to trade a retest failure to trade down. So that might come around the corner today or not. You can monitor that. All right, we covered the pound yen. Is it failing there? Pound dollar, it's looking like it, looking like it's failed here today at 114.09, 135.50, I should say. We could be seeing this below 1300 by the end of the day. Now, if let's say we trade down, I've covered this already today, but more information. If we get down to 112 today, look to 113 to be resistance tomorrow. All right. Looks like it's offering a little bit of support intraday at the moment, but if we clearly move below there today, look at that to be resistance tomorrow. New Zealand yen. All right, this is popping up. Let's go back to my other charts because I've got here we are. That's last month's high, that's month's low. All right, we're at this level of resistance, daily chart resistance. So my far chart got my last month's high line up there, my last month's low line down here. If we can just pop up a little bit higher, we're at the 62% level of the range of last month. 62 level, the 79 level of last month's candle range is often where the next month puts in its high for the next move down. Now it's holding at that day chart resistance at the moment, 84.75. So just watch to see if structure changes here to the downtrend on the 4-hour. Are we able to hit the 62 level, which is 85.07, so pretty much the 8500 level? All right, just watch the area. Do we structurally see a change? 15-minute. Well, that's structurally already in a downtrend, but not seeing a method of getting in there at the moment. You could look for a 15-minute fib entry. Just drag your fib down. 79% levels there, fractionally lower than your resistance level. All right, so if you think it's already failed, look to sell a rally using the fib tool. Okay, New Zealand dollar, very similar to the Aussie dollar. And let's just use these charts because I don't need MACD on the New Zealand dollar to tell me too much. We're in a very strong monthly downtrend. The only precursor now of warning is this line's a day chart line, so don't disregard that, but we're getting down to monthly major support. Slavia telling me that New Zealand CPI came out today way higher. They expected it could force the New Zealand to go down. Could do. So the only real cautionary thing is be aware of where this obvious monthly level of support is. All right. Weekly trends clearly down. We are managing just to have, see how 2 weeks ago we managed to have a week up and then we completely failed. We are poking up for another week up. So there's a bit of buying pressure there, but it's not structurally changing the trend. And on the daily, if you draw a fib across that range, we're probably at the 62 level. So are we failing at the 62? I said this last week. 62 levels there, the 79% level. And somebody put a comment on one of my YouTube videos the other day saying, "Oh, that's not head and shoulders. It should be at the end of a run." For me, head and shoulders can form anywhere. Yes, they can definitely form at the top of a run or at the bottom of a run, but you know, whether this is, people can argue whether this should be a head and shoulder pattern in the position of where it is in the market, but ultimately you've got a level of resistance here to the left. You'll clearly see that on the 4-hour chart over here. Your fib lines up with that level. So for me, whether, you know, this is a textbook head and shoulder pattern in the position of where the market is, to me, I don't really care. This is resistance here. There's more resistance there. 79% level lines up with that resistance level. That is a high probability level where you would find sellers trade back down. So we may already be failing at the 62 level, failing at last week's high as well. All right. So you need to make a judgment yourself. Do you like the area for an area to sell? You could be waiting for another retest of last week's high just to get a better price. Or are you sitting on your hands for a higher level? Of course, sitting on your hands for a higher level, it might not come. You just need to work out, do you want to trade the New Zealand dollar at the moment? What level do you like the best? All right, so maybe we're failing at 62 at the moment, and we're just going to see a continuation pattern moving down. Now through the week, we can move down here 50 pips, 75 pips, but through the week, we might get another stab up and another failure at last week's high. So you might still see through the course of the week an opportunity to sell a further rally. But are we just now having a continuation pattern down to test 54.68, which is that monthly level? Let me just double check I'm telling you right. Yeah, that's that monthly level there. Is this the last rally before we come down to test the monthly level of support? Of course, that monthly level of support could clearly break if it wanted to. So you want to get in high up for the opportunity to trade down for the tests, and, you know, can it break? You don't want to be trying to sell it real close to support. So at the moment, today is maybe the day where you need to be looking to sell if you want to sell, okay? But, you know, tomorrow might offer a little bit of a more, at least a push up tomorrow to sell at a higher price. All right, so 15-minute chart is definitely in a downtrend. Just looking at how that price is structured, now it's forming nice lower tops and bottoms. We may have topped out there at the 57 level. All right. Did early in the day give you a swing point break entry, did give you a trend line break entry, failing at the 62 level, figure level, okay? Can't go back in time and take the trade, but there was an opportunity there to take the trade if you're watching that pair. All right, so it looks like it's moving down at the moment. May give you an opportunity to try to sell at last week's high tomorrow, maybe later in today. All right, getting into the dollar Canadian. Another, you know, I don't know if this is going to work. I can go to my other charts because my other charts have got my little markings on here. Now, whether or not this is going to come to pass, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, I don't know. US dollar is very strong, isn't it? So I do feel at the moment that whilst that pattern can form, there's a big headwind to get past with the US dollar strength. All right, so it could form over the next few months. It's worth having it there in the back of the mind. Is that pattern going to form? At the moment, what we're seeing is, a week down, a week up, a week down. Are we having a week up next week? Are we just like having dips? 1 week down, 1 week up, 1 week down, 1 week up. Day chart. Still structurally holding. That MACD is not looking very healthy. It's kind of divergent there. But maybe we're just pulling back to the 62 level here to start to move back above. It'd be nice if we, obviously this market at the moment, that 137.92 level is at a monthly level of resistance. That's that top from over here. The day chart at the moment there is clearly having a headache there. So right now, if you want to be a buyer on the dollar Canadian, that is not the best area on the chart to be a buyer. All right. You have to, learn where to fight your battles. And for me, that's not an area where I want to buy, where I'm sitting in between, I'm above weekly resistance, short of monthly resistance. So I'm in the resistance area. So, if we can put a clear 37.92 clearly, get away from that area and move up, then it'd be easier to be a buyer, because at the moment, you've got sellers in this area thinking that maybe this resistance is going to hold. So this is why it's a little bit heavy going here at the moment. See how you have a very positive blue candle up? Well, you have a rejection, positive blue candle down, then negative red down. It's 1 day up, 1 day down, kind of affair. All right. It may be just structurally holding the trend, but it's not in the best area to be a buyer at the moment. And, it moving nicely beyond 137.92 would be ideal, and then look at structure after that. All right, getting into, let's have a look at dollar yen. Who wants to buy the dollar yen at such heavy heights? Looks like intervention here. I don't know if there's anything on Forex Factory that, let me just have a look at the news flashes. Not seeing any news flashes over the last 60 minutes, but that one candle where it's moved down 100 pips to me looks like some form of intervention, even though we're not seeing anything there. All right. So keep being aware of, possibility of further intervention. So the monthly chart, you have to squash it right in, really right in. The next level, back in like 1988 kind of area, 149.07 is that level there. And price has been above that level today. The next little high, that's assuming this data is accurate. Next high there is at 150.86. All right. So the monthly trend here is clearly up. Nothing's really stopping it. Day trend is up. All right. It's just a question of, do you want to buy this when we're at such high levels now? I'm sure the Bank of Japan is looking at 150. Doesn't want it to get to 150. If you bought it way back, you probably don't care about 100 pip intervention, but if you're just getting in, you're going to care about it. So it's very difficult to trade this pair at such high levels with the Bank of Japan being on intervention mode. All right. Be a lot easier to trade the likes of the euro yen or the pound yen if they start to structurally change to a downward move in line with that potential for intervention. Then if you get an intervention, it's going to go the way of the, the way of the short trade. So, but it's still holding up there. You can see that intervention on the 15-minute chart. If that was intervention, then it's pretty much back to where the intervention started. All right. So if the Bank of Japan did spend some money, they just wasted it because, well, they may have knocked it down 30 pips. They may have gone, look, we don't want this above 149. So, the Bank of Japan could just be here all day, just selling at 149 area, just holding it there, meeting the buyers. So in any event, 149.07 is monthly resistance from way back. So do you want to buy into monthly resistance where the Bank of Japan is also, selling? Probably not. I'm not seeing a setup though to sell. So for me, that pair at the moment, if this started a nice sell-off, and it all structurally started to look good, maybe we're at a really good level or heights that we're at the moment to start to look to structure a sell, but I'm not seeing anything that's structurally telling me to do that. So just keep monitoring 149. Can we get up to 150? I'm sure between 149 and 150, the Bank of Japan will probably come in and intervene again. All right, let's have a look at gold for all you people that want to trade gold. Very clear on gold. Are we having a major double top here? Can we move down to approximately the 1300 level? This month's candle, whilst we traded back above what is monthly support, 1676, we couldn't trade above the high of the candle. Go to my other charts because I've got my ranges on there. Gold. All right, there's a monthly candle. And let's get rid of that line. Yeah, double top. Can we move down to the 1300 level approximately? So this current month is trading within the range of last month. Yes, we've been above support, back below it. Those that have been to my webinar on the monthly candles, I'll get to that in a moment. Another lower top forming on the weekly. Last week closed below. Can we come up for a retest? Fail at 1676 once more. Day trend's actually up in the face of the higher time frame downtrends. Is it putting in a higher bottom here to move back up? For me, I'm going to move to the 4-hour chart so I can show you with my fib. There's last month's high, drawing a fib across to last month's low. We retraced just beyond the 79% level, but ultimately started to falter at the 79% level. So if you're in a downtrend, when you look at monthly candles, price will often retrace back inside the previous month, up to the 62 to 79% level of that range. Got a fraction above the 79 for a while, but ultimately we failed at the 79% level. And we've moved below monthly support now. There's still the opportunity that we could still come back up to retest monthly support. That would be the most obvious area to watch. I could see that you could maybe draw a fib from that high to that low. 79% levels at 1673. Your monthly resistance at 1676. So, you could get a tight entry in that area. Let me just get rid of that monthly fib. It's all about risk to reward. Trading at the 79% level there to the monthly broken support level. So that should be resistance at the moment. Proved to be resistance last week. Trading here with a stop just above the high here is limited risk for potentially maximum gain if we're going to be trending down with that monthly double top. So, you just have to decide, do you want to trade it? Where it is at the moment, it's very, choppy here at the moment. This is the area to look at up here. That's where the buyers and sellers are making the decision. Am I selling here to hold it down, or are the buyers pushing it through and moving above that level? That's where the battle's going to be, traded right up there at that level if we can get up there. So if you trade gold, that's the level to watch between 1673, 1676. Okay. All right, everybody, any more questions before we finish up? Market, when we're looking at the US dollar at the moment, it is a little bit mixed. Rescue, you want to look at the EUROCAD. Now, we don't have too much data coming out, so we are a bit mixed at the moment. I've got the philosophy at the moment that I'm going to trade the trend until I see it change. But what I want to do is trade at the highest, let's say something's in downtrend, but it's getting a little bit consolidatory, a little bit mixed on the daily. I'm going to try and sell at the highest level I can with the trend, with the higher time frame trend. Okay, if the day chart's going to remain mixed. And if I can't do that, I'm just waiting for a clearer trend. Chart the window. All right, so we're having a bounce on monthly support. Monthly trend in general terms is down. We could come back up to monthly resistance. $137.83. All right, weekly trend is up at the moment. So the bias is to the upside as we start to move down. But the clear area of where price would stop at would be at 137.83. That area of broken support. You can see there on the monthly chart, once we broke below, it became resistance on the high of that candle. So obviously the market's watched that for resistance already. So weekly's up, daily is up. At the moment, you're moving into resistance up here on the daily. The most opportune time to have traded this would be when price pulled back to here. These 3 days here, 1, 2, 3. Now this is coming up to resistance where it could falter. So, don't buy into resistance, but the overall trend on the weekly data are up. I would say, if it continues that way, I would be looking as a very dangerous zone, 137.83, where that market could finish its monthly rally. But at the moment, weekly day trends are up. You're getting up to that top there though at the moment, which, do you want to buy intraday close to that top? Probably not. I don't, but all right, we're in the red area of the pivots at the moment, so this is probably going to sell down. Now 135 could hold as potential support. You can see through here. Once today we impulsively moved above the figure, see all the lows there at 135. So you could, if you wanted to construct something intraday, watch that pivot point there with the 135 level. Pivot is at 135.04. That could offer support intraday. All right, Fresky, hopefully that helped you. All right, everybody. Just to give you a heads up before we go. Coming up tomorrow, I'm going to go through the topic of order blocks. All right, Thursday, same time, I'm going to go through more live market analysis. Hopefully the market might be a little bit clearer on some of these pairs. That's what's coming up. Next week, next Wednesday, going to go through price imbalances. All right. So that's what's coming up. Just register your interest at the webinar page if you want to register and join me then. Let's just have a quick last minute click through. And my 50-minute fib entry. If we are failing at 94 there, drag your fib to the bottom. 79 levels at 93.95. Put your stop above the high. Very limited risk for potentially large gain to the downside. Aussie doesn't want to move below 62.84 at the moment. Getting some intraday support there at the moment. Euro yen. It's pretty dead at the moment, but obviously it's still high up there. You know, level to watch 145.68. Does that keep holding as support? If we close below that level, we may have downside movements. So pullbacks may hold at 145.68. So then that's still showing that the buyers are holding the market up. So you can look obviously to trade up from that level, but if we close below 145.68, there could be downside potential. Euro dollar, definitely over the next 24 hours, we may well retest 98.64. Daily resistance where we're holding at. Pound yen, this is clearly not holding at the moment. This look, you know, now when we failed down here at monthly support, we went all the way up. Do you think we could fail here and trade all the way back down to monthly support? Do you think it's possible? Anything's possible at the moment on these pound crosses for sure. So clearly we are failing up there. So can you start to see a trade setup that you trade to trade down on that failure? Pound dollar, it is below 113 now. I didn't want to say too much, but you couldn't have traded anyway. But I did get short this pair at I got short it yesterday at 113.50. I almost got stopped out. I was using my 100 pip method. I almost got stopped out up here. All right. Because I thought on the day chart, you know, we had this test at 114.09. That didn't quite, you know, if you traded at 149 over here with a 100 pip stop, it didn't quite get up 100 pips, so it would have been good. I didn't think it would get to 114.09 this time, so I traded at 113.50 with a 100 pip stop. Almost got stopped out yesterday. But I'm nearly up 100 pips. So, you know, I have the same threats when I take my trade setup of when I look and go, okay, I like that level, I'm going to take a trade. I have the same worries of anybody else. I don't really worry about it, but I have the same, you know, market conditions to contend with. Price can stop me out. You know, I could have gotten stopped out there yesterday almost. Where did it go? It went up to 114.39, so it was like 10 pips away. And I went to bed and thought, I'm going to get stopped out there. And then woke up and thought, okay, I haven't been stopped out yet. And then, you know, I might be able to get the trade to break even shortly. So I have the same things. You know, when I trade a level, sometimes it just doesn't react exactly like I would like it to. Now, sometimes I can trade a level and it will trade a few pips through it, and then it just reverses into all happy days. Sometimes I trade a level and I can be wrong. I was wrong on the euro yen last week. Sometimes I can trade a level and it almost stops me out, you know. So I have the same problems as anybody else at times where the market doesn't want to operate perfectly to how I'd like it to operate. But hopefully, you know, fingers crossed. And Edwin, you said you entered it at 130.50 today, and you have to break even already. So, you know, I got my fingers crossed. I wasn't short on this pair when it moved down here. So I'm hoping this is going to move down here. All right. So I'm going to try to hold my position through whatever this pair wants to operate. You know, of course, I'm going to have to get my trade to break even. But then I'm going to endeavor just do nothing and let that have its opportunity to trade down. There's been calls that this is going to go to the, you know, parity, whether or not it is going to go to parity or not. But, you know, if you can get down to 104.63, that would be good enough. All right. So glad to see that somebody else got in. Did anybody else get short the pound? Edwin, I know you said you got in at pretty much the same price I did. Slav, you short too? All right. All right, well, hopefully, you know, for us that are short at the moment, this is going to run down nicely. As I said before, if this does continue down today, 113 could be a good level for resistance tomorrow. I did notice that this is where we closed on Friday. There's this gap here that needs to get filled. All right, that's down at the 112 level. So that would be nice if we get down there over the next 24 hours. All right, Edwin, you're saying you're taking profit at 112.22. All right, just ahead of that level. All right, everybody, thanks very much. Hope you got some good levels there, some information you can work with your trading strategies, and make sure you got your stops in. Things are very volatile on some pairs. Get your risk under control, and good luck. All right, everybody, thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you next time.